people? It's Joey Bags, and right now I'm being a little quiet because it's like just past midnight. Everybody's asleep, and we're gonna walk to the office slash studio so we can get this video started. So let's take that walk. So we're taking a walk into the office slash studio. We're going through this door. Ooh, we're in my super dark laundry room. Y'all don't want to see the mess I got in here, but you're gonna see the mess in the office. So that's the pile of sim stuff. Here we go. We've got the rig. Shout out to Next Level Racing. I love this thing, but I think I'm gonna have to upgrade to an 80/20. Alright. And what is up, my YouTube people? So this is the second part. I did the intro with me in the kitchen. This is actually the second time I'm about to record this video because I did not realize that the hotkey I have set to mute my mic at some point I must have pressed. So I did the whole video, chit-chatted away throughout the whole race, did absolutely horrible, but I came in 31st instead of 32nd. And the only audio was the engine sounds, was the racing. So here we go, and this is 2 times I'm doing this. Alright, so we're 42 seconds in, probably a little bit longer with that intro. I'm going to give you the TLDW of this video. The Cammus C5, I really like it. The Cammus C5 is really good for a $250 entry-level direct drive. The Cammus C5 does have shortcomings. The big 2 glaring shortcomings, like I mentioned in the other video, are the fact that you have this static, well, this is not a static wheel, but you cannot remove this wheel. This is the wheel that you will have from beginning to end. For a lot of people, that is a problem. They also say aesthetically it's kind of ugly. I mean, it's not going to win a beauty pageant. It's not like my custom wheel that I have up there, but you know what? I've seen worse. Anything from Thrustmaster. Shots fired. Yeah, now I'm going to get all the hate from the Thrustmaster fanboys. So yeah, no changeable wheel, and the fact that the paddles are really small. So if you have normal sized hands, not like my little tiny hands with stubby fingers, for anybody else it tends to be a problem. It feels a little cramped. For me personally, I think it's fine. Somebody on Etsy does sell paddle extensions that you can clip on, so that solves that. I'll put the link in the description. And I'm also going to talk about Fanatec's drama, where they sent out an email telling pretty much everybody, look, we're having problems, we've got things sorted out, you know, but just to help us out, don't email us unless, and then they list a bunch of issues. Quite honestly, all those issues are pretty much the only reason anybody would email them anyway, so I don't get the whole point of sending that email. And the second email they've sent out was about the delays with the Club Sport DD Plus, which is their new 15 Newton meter direct drive that kind of looks like it's styled like the CSL. Now that the DD Plus, the Club Sport DD Plus is PlayStation compatible. That one's $1,000, I think. I'll roll in a picture later. But they're claiming that the reason now that they're now delayed is because they're waiting on getting Sony's blessing over the chip, I guess, that they have in there to get it to work with the PlayStation 5. Honestly, I think that's kind of bullshit, and I'm not going to try to get too much into it because everybody always likes to complain of why I'm so hard on Fanatec in my Fanatec videos, so whatever. I still think it's bullshit. I think they should have gotten the blessing beforehand, not taking money, but whatever. So 3 minutes, 39 seconds in, that's what the whole video is going to be. Now, if you're a trooper and you're going to stay for it, you're going to see me racing Monza in the McLaren. I don't do qualifying, I don't do practice, I just go right into the race. I'll probably be, in the back, but that's okay. If you're here for my driving, I'm sorry for you, because I think I kind of like the gear and building stuff and reviewing, making videos kind of more than I actually like racing sometimes. Not that I dislike it, but I kind of tend to have more fun buying gear, testing gear, making these videos than sometimes racing. I mean, so I know that's so bad. But anyway, let's get into the video, so then that way at least I'm not boring you. All right, so the start of the video, or the start now of the second portion for the troopers that like stay for the whole thing, even though I always say I'm gonna make it quick, and 25 to 45 minutes later the video's still going. Yeah, I really like the Cammus. I really do. The C5 is great. Now, if I had the pedals, I think it would be even awesomer. But it is what it is. I don't have the pedals, so I'll just deal with it. Right now, my main reason for having the pedals is just because I really want to test this on console. And right now, Brook, they released the new firmware for the resolution, and it has an issue with, MOSA components. If you hook up MOSA components, which, I think that's the only things I can really hook up right now, because it lets you use the universal serial hub that they have. If you hook up anything MOSA, the circle button breaks, which is usually the back or cancel button. Which is also, I think, the B button on Xbox. So with MOSA, that's broken. And now, since I do have the universal hub and I do have SRP light pedals, I could use that with the Cammus C5 on console, which is kind of awesome. The resolution too lets you mix and match different pedals and direct drives and stuff, which is super cool. But if the pedals that I'm mixing and matching right now aren't working, kind of sucks. So hopefully Brook, addresses that issue and they get a patch to that quick, so that way, I can go ahead and use this on console. Because at that point, I mean, this is really encroaching on my PXN territory. And you guys know how much I love my PXN V12 Lite, because I can go from PC to console with, connecting a controller, a dongle, and moving a USB cable. That's really all I have to do. I haven't tested out the Fanatec GT DD Pro yet, so maybe that's even easier of just switching a USB cable. Who knows, but that price tag is still too high for a lot of people. Where the PXN, if you can find it, is like sub 550, and the Cammus is 250. Universal hub from MOSA is like $50. SRP light pedals you can find from almost anywhere. I mean, it's kind of awesome. I would also try the Logitech hub with, that also. Anyway, so there's that issue. But let's get into the the Cammus discussion. So I really, really like the C5. I think for an entry-level direct drive, it's great. For someone who maybe, dipped their toes into the sim racing world by getting a G29 or maybe a G25 or G27, or maybe one of the Thrustmasters, I think it's a 148 or 150, and the 248, the T300 something, or even a TGT2, I think. For people that, went that route with like the gear / belt driven non-direct drive, if you want to dip your toes into the direct drive market, you want to see what it has, I think the Cammus C5 is great. I mean, it has a lot of features that, some of the big name brands will have. I mean, it's got a ton of buttons. I think it's like 22 buttons, maybe I think it goes up to 50 if you make the rotary encoders, If you make each turn a step its own button, I think it goes up to like 50. It's it's crazy. It's got a ton of buttons. The power, honestly, this might sound hyperbolic, but I think the power is perfect. Yes,
Touch the pearls.
I know. But it's rated at 5 newton meters, okay? That's what it's rated at. That's what the booklet says. That's what everything online says. I've used a 10 newton meter direct drive, the PXM one. This feels as strong as that. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's, really, it's got 5 newton meter holding strength. They're kind of using Fanatec's little, verbiage there. And it's like 8 peak or something like that. A lot of people are like, oh, it's, rated at 5, but, it's actually, feels closer to 8. I could agree with that. It may be rated at 5, but it does feel much higher than that. I felt 8 newton meters. I felt 10 newton meters. Quite honestly, I have it turned up to 80% power. I'm not even at 100% power. I'm at 80% power. So, I'm like, this feels great for it being at 80% and a 5 newton meter rated base. I think it's great. We'll get into the negatives. A lot of people think it's ugly. It may not be the most aesthetically pleasing. I'm not going to front and say it's good looking. You could say it's utilitarian. It's sturdy. It might not be the prom queen or the prom queen, but it's not homely. It's it's average. Where if like a GSI wheel is like a 10 in the looks department, this is like a solid. I think it's a solid 6. This is like your everyday all around 6er. It won't leave you. It'll be loyal to 6. Really, I don't find that much wrong with it. Would I like a Formula style wheel for it? I really would, and that's only because I find Formula wheels aesthetically pleasing. For the driving, I do. A D-shaped wheel is fine. If you like to drift, I can see where you have a problem with a D-shaped wheel. If you like to do a lot of Formula driving, I can see where you have an issue with a D-shaped wheel. And the fact that we can't change them does kind of suck, but it is what it kind of is. And hopefully maybe down the line, Cammus figures something out. And actually what I'm going to talk about in the segue into what I want to talk about is there. The paddles, yes, they're short. I have small hands. Stubby fingers. Quite honestly, for me, it's a perfect fit. The wheel, the paddles, everything fits my hands naturally. Damn it. I did this in the last race too. I was doing okay and then I spotted. Anyway, so like I was saying, the paddles, quite honestly, are fine for me. If you have average to larger sized hands, I can see where it might feel a little cramped for you. Like your fingers are going a little bit, too close to that center hub, and you might find it difficult to get to the paddles. I can see that. There is somebody on Etsy selling paddle extensions, so I'll put the link in the description to that Etsy store if you're, or like that Etsy post, in case you're looking at that, you want to look at that. But the paddle issue is the paddle issue. So what I was thinking is perhaps maybe Cammus can redesign the C5 where they make that carbon fiber center plate where all the buttons and that little screen are removable. So it's future me here. I'm cutting into the area where I'm talking about how Cammus can go ahead and make the way that they change out the wheel behind the carbon plate, make it user serviceable with like some screws around it, take off the plate. Then if they wanted to do proprietary bolt setup, or if they just wanted to do a kind of universal 60 or 56 to like 72 millimeter PCD, if whatever they wanted to do, what I would suggest they do something like what Moza did. So what I'm holding here is the ES wheel from Moza. This button box is the ES button box. It originally comes in a D-shaped wheel, as you can see here. Remove 6 bolts, and then Moza made this Formula style, GT3 style rim that you bolt on with those same 6 bolts onto that button box. Cammus, do something like this. Make a bigger D-shaped wheel. Make a GT3 styled wheel. Make a larger regular round wheel, or maybe an 11-inch round wheel like this. Or I think, yeah, looking at it, it looks like it's the same wheel. Quite honestly, I'm going to take a picture of this and roll it in where the design of the wheel that I'm holding in my hand is very close to the wheel that Cammus used. Do something like that behind this carbon plate. Make this carbon plate user serviceable with some screws around it to take off. Also make maybe some in different materials, you know, maybe aluminum, maybe plastic, maybe forged carbon or in colors. Do that so that way we can replace these wheels and price it similarly to how Moza priced this thing out. This is like, I think, 40 to 50 bucks. Acelith even makes one. Acelith Design makes one of these rims for this ES wheel. Actually, for a few of Moza's wheels. Actually, they make a few good wheels. I have one up there for my PXN. Make the wheel attach this way. Make this plate removable, user serviceable, and just allow a simple 6-bolt pattern. You know, you can keep the electronics on it if you want. Just make it so that way the wheel is detachable. And do you know how happy you will make the community? How happy. I'm pretty sure, do that change and you're going to see a lot more people wanting to now buy this direct drive. I'll take you back to the regularly scheduled video that is, or our video that's currently in progress. Oh my god, this is a total shit show right here. I'm doing horribly. Anyway, so like I was saying, make that panel removable and then make the wheel's attachment point behind that. In doing that, a lot of the sim community is DIY. And a lot of us love doing DIY projects to customize our rigs or to customize wheels the way we want them. So if Cammus gave us an option where all we had to do was take out 4 to 6 bolts around that faceplate, and then maybe we needed to just take out 3 to 6 bolts that held the wheel in place, a lot of us wouldn't mind doing that to then change out the wheel to something that we wanted. I guess they could, you know, wouldn't be the greatest move, but making a proprietary styled wheel that will fit, so then you only have to buy the wheel from them, which quite honestly would be the smart play, as to hold back on everybody then cursing at them online to tell them, oh, you know, the wheel I wanted to use doesn't fit, you made a horrible piece of equipment, and blah 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 blah, because people just don't understand that sometimes you have to do your own research before you know, commit to something. You know, make sure it fits first before you know, or at least measure before you start going off. Anyway, that's a whole other tangent. So maybe do something like that. Make it so that way the wheel's attachment point is just behind that plate. Make that plate easy to remove, and you make the wheel easy to remove, you know, to take off and put back on. And if you want to sell the wheels proprietary, you know, bolt pattern or proprietary shape to fit in there, while not the nicest, it's not the most consumer friendly move, at least gives us options. Don't overprice it, because if you overprice it, that's a guaranteed way that nobody's going to want to buy it. You know, make the wheels reasonably priced if you're going to make them proprietary, so that way at least, you know, we'll go ahead and want to buy them. We'll want to support you. And at that point, just offer GT3 style, you know, F1 style wheel. Offer a larger wheel for drifting. Maybe some people that like to drive NASCAR, they like them big old wheels. And let's see, what other style? I mean, you can offer a few different style wheels. I mean, but really, it's kind of round. You know, maybe offer another slightly larger D-shaped wheel. You know, quite honestly, you have the power in this motor to support larger wheels. You definitely do. You know, I'm not worried about it becoming you know, it causing natural dampening because of the size of the wheel. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So that's my take on what Cammus can do if they want to maybe quell some of the whole your wheel is ugly drama, or you don't have a changeable option drama. You know, those are my 2 cents. I'll quickly get into the Fanatec stuff just because, you know, everybody likes to shit on me because I like to shit on Fanatec, and I don't care. So, like I said at the beginning, Fanatec sent out 2 emails. I'll add the emails and pictures here so that maybe you can take a look if I find the screenshots. The first one was to tell people, hey, you know, we're sorry for not contacting you, but we've got things kind of squared away, which they really don't. But in order to keep us, you know, somewhat free and clear, can you please not email us unless you have these problems? And then they list some bullet, you know, points of the problems you could have. And quite honestly, all the bullet points that they put there are pretty much the only reasons anybody would email them anyway. I don't think anybody's emailing them to say, hey, how are you doing? How's your day going? You know, how's the market? I don't think anybody's calling them, you know, emailing them to chit chat. So yeah, pretty much everything you listed in your email is why people would email you anyway. So really? And then the second email they sent out was them shifting the blame on the extended delays of the Club Sport DD Plus, which is their new 15 Newton meter direct drive base that looks like the CSL. It has that similar, you know, fins, rounded design look as the CSL DD. So they're shifting the blame on the PlayStation compatible version being delayed because they're waiting on Sony to give them the blessing on, I guess, whatever chips they're using for this. Honestly, I think it's bull. I really think it's bull. They took pre-orders for months. They announced it at Attic 2023. They had working, you know, units there. They've sent out units to YouTubers. I don't understand how you could do all this and not have had Sony's blessing from jump, or just kind of already had Sony's blessing because you did the GT DD Pro. So I mean, it's like, okay, just honestly it's the same thing. It's just bigger and a little bit more powerful. You already got the blessing from that. Just use that same blessing over. But nah, apparently they want to shift the blame to Sony. Seems Fanatec is really good at blaming everybody except themselves. And quite honestly, if I had a pre-order, $1,000 pre-order at that, because that's, you know, Fanatec loves charging a premium for anything Sony related. Just look at the GT-DD Pro. You know, their regular CSL DD, you can get it for like under $400. A setup with a wheel and pedals, you know, for the PC. You get an Xbox version, I think it's just a little bit more. I think it's like $469 with the McLaren GT3 wheel for the PlayStation. I mean, for the Xbox. But now you want to charge $700 for the version that you can use on a PlayStation 5? Did Sony really get you that hard on the licensing of, you know, GT of Gran Turismo's, you know, that little GT they put on it and what they put on the box, and, you know, just being able to put Sony? Did they really, you know, get ya that good that you're passing off that much of a buck to the consumer? $700? Come on. So the fact that they didn't have the blessing, and that's what they're waiting on, I just find that to be just ridiculous. And if I had $1,000 pre-order with them, still waiting, well, I'd be pissed. At that point, I'm just gonna find a secondhand Podium DD1 that's PlayStation compatible, and you know what? It's not 15. I don't think it's 15 newton meters, but F that. I'll just use that. I'll rock that DD1 until it breaks and be done with it. I'm telling you, Fanatec just, they step in it. Sometimes they just really step in it. So really, that's the extent of the video, guys. We're on the 8th lap. I'm in 31st place out of 33 places, so at least I moved up one. I'm gonna thank you all for watching. Everybody from literally all over the world that watches my videos, I can't thank you enough. I mean, I think we're up to like 297 subs now. I'm floored. I know compared to some of the other sim tubers, that's like nothing compared to some other YouTubers. It's nothing, but for me, that's a big deal. I'm super appreciative of all of it, and this is why at 2 a.m. on a Sunday, let's zoom that out because it zoomed in again. That's why at 2 a.m. plus on a Saturday, now it's Sunday, I'm making a YouTube video for you guys instead of sleeping. But I appreciate all of you. Just, you know, hit that thumbs up, like the videos. If I've earned your sub, you feel I've earned your sub, go ahead and sub. If you don't feel I've earned your sub, oh my god, I did it again. If you don't feel I earned your sub, I can completely understand, especially with crappy driving like this, where I'm now back in 32nd place. Dead last. Anyway, if you feel I've earned it, thank you for subbing. Please sub. If you did sub, hit that notification button so that way you can get that 2 to 3 a.m. notification that I dropped the video. And, you know, I really just want to give a shout out to all of the, you know, the people that are constantly watching and commenting on my videos. Thank you. I'm noticing, you know, some of the same names over and over again, and I really appreciate you guys. Just, it makes me feel honored that you took the time out of your day to watch one of my videos. It's a big honor. Like, I don't take that lightly, and I really do appreciate it. You know, and I just want to work those numbers. I want to grow the channel. I want to be as big as Will from Boosted Media. I want to have the kind of community that like Matt Malone has, or Random Call Sign. I mean, OC Racing. I mean, his videos are just like so well produced. I'm like jelly when I'm watching. I'm like, oh my god. Production value out the ass. Mike from Sim Racing 604. Dude is awesome, and I love watching his videos. I mean, all of the sim YouTubers, just, you guys make awesome content, and quite honestly, you know, y'all probably don't watch my little tiny channel at all, but if you happen to, I just want to thank you all for making great content that inspires me. And yeah, I mean, thank you. That's really all I can say. And thank you to everybody else that watches. Thank you to everybody that comments. Um, let's just make 2024 that year. Let's make it that year. You know, that this is what I will do all the time. I'll spend, oh my God, I spun out again. You know, 2024 will be the year where, you know, my days are spent with the kids and with you guys, live streaming and making videos just for you guys. So until the next one, and I've done horribly in this race, I will catch y'all later. Peace.